All right, jewelry friends, it's time for another episode of the Jewelry Resellers Podcast. My name's Desiree, and I am your jewelry reselling bestie. In today's episode, we're going to talk about the jewelry trends that we can expect to see, or maybe even make some predictions about for 2025. Now, I have done past episodes talking about jewelry trends, and as resellers, it's not really that crucial that we understand or know the exact trends that could come into play as it relates to fashion and jewelry. But what I have learned over my many years of reselling jewelry is that when we are aware and when we pay attention to trends, what's popular, what people are looking for, and what so called experts and gurus are saying is on point for the year, it tends to make our sourcing and our styling tips a little bit easier, and we are finding the things that we know people are looking for. And as you know, when it concerns reselling, the name of the game is to find items that people actually want. And this is across the board. It's not only jewelry specific, but of course, we are going to talk about the specifics as it relates to jewelry today. All right, so before we get started with that, I like to remind you to head on over to our website, which is jewelryresellerspodcast.com, because over there you will find all kinds of goodies and information as it relates to jewelry reselling. And you can also join our newsletter because when you do, you will get instant access to a download, which I created not too long ago. And it's the 20 best selling vintage jewelry brands that I think all resellers should know. So if you are just getting started or if you've been doing this for a while, I think it's a good resource just for you to be familiar with and maybe just to look over and see if there's something maybe you didn't know as it relates to popular vintage jewelry brands. All right. Now, the other thing is I want to share with you, and I've talked about this before, but if you are going to be in Las Vegas in March of 2025, I would love to connect with you and talk jewelry, talk reselling, and whatever else, because I'll be speaking at the Boss Reseller Remix, and tickets are on sale now. Now, you can use code JEWELRY to save a little bit on your ticket. And of course, if you are going to be in Las Vegas, remember I do have the ultimate thrift shopper's guide to Las Vegas. So if you are interested in maybe doing some thrifting, some antique malling, maybe some flea marketing, I have a 20-page PDF that has all of the information as it relates to the best thrifting spots in Southern Nevada. All right, so I will have links to all of those resources for you in the description of this video. And if you are listening to the audio version of this podcast, I will have everything linked for you in the show notes. All right, so let's go ahead and get into today's topic because we are talking about the jewelry trends that we can expect to see for the year of 2025. Now, I don't know if any of you follow this, but I always pay attention to this too, and that is the Pantone color of the year has just been announced, and it is, I think it's Mocha Mousse, which is kind of a soft pastel brown. There's been some mixed opinions about the color of the year. Now, the Pantone color of the year usually is something that, as it relates to design, fashion, jewelry, a lot of the creative, I guess, color palettes are based on the Pantone color of the year. Now, I just read an article that talked about not too many people are happy about the Pantone color of the year. And so I'm not sure how that's really going to directly impact us as jewelry resellers, but we will probably notice a lot of accessories kind of being influenced by this particular color. And of course, as it relates to jewelry, it pretty much matches or complements any color palette. It's just a matter of personal preference. But I thought I'd throw it out there because it's always good to have more information as opposed to not having enough. All right, so let's go ahead and get into these trends because there are a lot of things for us to talk about. Now, some of the things that I have been researching as it relates to this topic, because there are already quite a few articles and interviews out there where people are talking about what the trends are going to be, not only as it relates to jewelry, but as it relates to fashion, as it relates to home decor, interior design, even art. And a lot of jewelry is inspired by these things. All right, so we're going to kind of talk about what is most popular, and then I'm going to share with you my own predictions of what I think is going to be trending in 2025, just from my own experience and communicating with my buyers and other jewelry resellers as well. All right, so starting off, some of the things that we are going to see in 2025 as it relates to jewelry are layered necklaces, statement pieces, pearls, snake motifs, and beaded jewelry. Now, none of these are particularly new or groundbreaking as it relates to jewelry. But what I have noticed is that the layered necklaces trend has been popular for the past few years. And it's also called stacking in the sense that you're wearing multiple necklaces, whether they complement each other or not, really doesn't matter. It's the whole stacking, the whole layering that seems to be on trend or on point right now. And a lot of people are doing it with a mixture of modern pieces as well as vintage pieces. Even different styles and eras of jewelry are being combined just to make a very unique and statement type of style, I guess would be a great way to say it. All right, so that brings me to the next trend, which are statement pieces. Again, I don't think this is anything really new or, that we didn't already know about. But here's the thing: as I've been in this whole jewelry jewelry community for a while, I have noticed that people are looking for more bold, eye catching pieces. It's not about being very demure. It's more about what can you do to stand out. Because everybody has their own edge, everybody has their own vibe. And so they're looking for jewelry pieces that will match that edge or will match that vibe or that energy. All right, so don't be afraid to source big, bold, even kind of gaudy, outlandish pieces, because I'm telling you, there are buyers out there who are looking specifically for that. And when it comes to jewelry resellers, there really aren't too many jewelry resellers who have the bold, outlandish, even gaudy pieces. All right, so that is a place, or I guess, um, a way that you can stand out as a jewelry reseller by offering something so kind of out of the box. All right. Next, we have pearls. Now, I have been talking about pearls for at least the past year. You know, I did an interview with Matt Harris, one of my favorite, or actually, he is my favorite pearl expert. And he gave us a deep dive on everything and anything as it relates to pearls. Now, Matt has been on his own personal mission to make pearls popular again, not just with the more mature crowd, but also with the younger, up and coming jewelry lovers, jewelry wearers, or jewelry enthusiasts. All right, so if you are finding pearls out there in the wild, I'm telling you, there is a demand for them, especially the antique and vintage pearls. But people are also, very much interested in the pearls that just look old. All right. So there's been a lot of jewelry designers who are recreating pearls, obviously at a much affordable price point. But I think just the style of pearls is not only elegant, but it's also something that is very accessible. And it's something that will complement, again, pretty much any age, any outfit, any skin tone. All right. So if you are looking for pearls or if you are selling pearls, that is definitely going to be a trend that will continue in 2025. Now, the other thing that I thought was really interesting is when I was doing my research, they said snake motifs are very popular. And I have found some snake or serpent pieces that I have actually kept for myself because I love them so much. Now, I have talked about the snake motif or the serpent design in previous episodes. And not only is it trendy, but it also has symbolic meaning, especially for those of us who like to kind of use our jewelry as a reflection of our own personal beliefs or our personal tastes. All right, so if you see snake or serpent jewelry out there, make sure you pick it up. Finally, we are talking about beads, beaded jewelry. Now, I have kind of seen, for me, beaded jewelry has not been doing that well as it relates to me as a reseller, especially as a live reseller. My beaded jewelry pieces just don't do well. And I don't know if that's just me or if it's maybe the particular inventory or pieces that I'm showing or showcasing. But according to the research, beaded jewelry is going to be hot in 2025. So your mileage may vary on this. Like I said, I haven't really seen that much of a demand for beaded jewelry. However, the experts are saying it's going to be popular next year. All right, so now we're going to talk about what I have found doing my own deep dive on what will be trending or what is predicted to be trending in 2025. Now, remember, as resellers, we don't always have to follow the trends. However, you will, come across customers or buyers who are looking for these particular pieces, especially if you do live selling like I do. People will come into your show and they will say, "Hey, do you have this?" Or "My daughter is looking for this. Please let me know if you come across this." All right. So being familiar with some of these trends not only is going to help you kind of curate your inventory, but it's also going to help you figure out, like I said, how to style certain pieces and how to maybe, give people suggestions when they ask you, "Oh, my daughter is looking for this," or "I really would like to buy something for my wife, my girlfriend," whatever the case may be. What can you suggest? All right. So it's just going to make you that much more knowledgeable. Plus, if you're like me, I just love jewelry information. And so to me, this is fun. And I just love, learning about it. Okay, so number one, well, yeah, I guess this is number one as it relates to my research. All right, so number one is sustainable and ethical jewelry. I have talked about this before. People are really getting into this, and I thought that it wasn't really that big of a thing until I started kind of poking around. And on Etsy, that is the type of stuff people are looking for, especially if it's something that's upcycled or if it's something where you kind of are making I guess a statement. But you know how when you buy jewelry because you know it's sustainable, and so a lot of people are choosing to consciously make that choice. So this is something that we have to think about when we are outsourcing. And you could even, I've seen people do live shows on this where they have an entire show where it's just sustainable and ethical jewelry. So here's what I found. Consumers are increasingly prioritizing eco-friendly and ethically sourced materials. This includes recycled metals, lab-grown diamonds, and upcycled jewelry. Transparency in sourcing and fair trade practices are gaining importance, especially among the younger buyers. So that's really interesting because you wouldn't think that maybe the younger generations care about that, but according to my research, they definitely do. So if you have a way of including some sustainable or ethical jewelry pieces in your inventory, I would highly encourage you to do so. All right, next up, the other trend that we are going to see in 2025 is vintage revival with modern twists. All right, so vintage revival jewelry has always been popular, especially within the last couple years. We've seen a surgence of Egyptian revival jewelry. So here's the thing. people want the vintage look, but they don't necessarily want to pay the actual price for vintage or antique jewelry, because we all know that vintage jewelry is always popular, always in demand. And so that drives the price up because these are pieces that you just cannot find anymore. And so, what a lot of people are looking for is they're looking for that vintage look, but they want a more modern spin on it. All right. So, this is really good for us resellers, especially for some of us who can't always source vintage or antique jewelry, or maybe we just don't have it in our sourcing budget to buy the amount or the particular pieces that we're looking for. So, vintage revival with a modern twist, retro designs, particularly from the Victorian and Art Deco eras. These are pieces that continue to be popular and in demand. These pieces are often reimagined with contemporary aesthetics, making them appealing to collectors and modern jewelry enthusiasts. All right, so if you find some reproductions of some of these vintage pieces with some type of modern elements to them, those are definitely going to be in demand next year. All right, next step, what we're going to see as it relates to jewelry trends in 2025 is personalized, customized jewelry. Now, I've talked about this before too, and people love to have their own design, their own thing as it relates to not only jewelry, but also, just their wardrobe, maybe their accessories, maybe the things they are using around the house, whatever the case may be. But personalized, customizable jewelry is going to continue to grow in demand. All right, customizable jewelry like birthstone charms, engraved pendants, pieces with sentimental value are definitely in demand. Consumers are looking for unique items that reflect their individual tastes and stories. All right. Now, I have seen this. I have asked people, or people have asked me, do I do customization? Which obviously I don't. But if it is something that you can incorporate into your jewelry reselling business in some way, shape, or form, I do think that it would definitely be something that people are looking for. Now, when I say customizable jewelry, this kind of takes things a little bit further as resellers, depending on what exactly we're set up for. Some of us may not have that ability, or maybe we're not willing to invest in the tools and the inventory necessary to customize jewelry pieces. But for those of you who make your own jewelry, you do handmade or you do upcycling or whatever the case may be, you may find that this is something that you can offer as a service as it relates to your jewelry business. Now, I have asked, or people have asked me, could I keep an eye out for certain types of jewelry? Like, I get a lot of requests for gemstone jewelry. People have said, oh, if you find rose quartz, if you find amethyst or whatever the case may be, can you please let me know? And so people will let me know their preferences. But of course, those pieces are not customized. But that could be another way that you can kind of use this particular trend to your advantage by saying, hey, I do offer personal shopping as it relates to jewelry pieces. If you would like to get on my list and let me know what it is you're looking for, I will make sure I contact you when I find it. And people really do appreciate that. And they are willing to pay a little bit more for that service. All right. Because they just love, they love knowing that you prioritize what they want when you're outsourcing. And then they also like having first dibs on something, if you find it while you're outsourcing. All right. So keep that in mind. So, another trend that we can expect to see in 2025 are the bold and maximalist styles. All right. Remember, not too long ago, it was very minimalist, but now people are looking for more maximalist styles and designs as it relates to jewelry, statement pieces like we talked about, colorful gemstones, and vibrant enamel designs are replacing minimalism. All right. So you want to think like chunky, kind of heavy looking necklaces, oversized rings, and the layered or stacked look like we talked about earlier. That's definitely going to be something that people are going to be incorporating into their style or into their look as we move into the new year. So again, I think that's going to be really, really fun. And I think that's going to be something different than what we've seen in years past. Now, another trend I've talked about quite a bit on the podcast is the mixed metals trend. I really like it. I believe that we don't really have to conform to any rules when it comes to our style, especially as it relates to our jewelry and our accessories. All right, so we are going to see people mixing metals, and it's not only gold and silver, but you may also see some other things where, there's rose gold and there is, what was the other thing that I saw? I want to say, like, was it copper? I think it was copper jewelry. There's so many things where you can kind of mix and match, and it doesn't have to make sense to anybody. It doesn't have to follow any kind of rules. And I think people love the flexibility and the freedom to kind of create their own look and not be limited in any way as it relates to their jewelry choices. All right. So if you can find, pieces to mix and match as it relates to the metals. Designers are also experimenting with mixing, what is it, like non-metal materials like wood, certain types of plastics, leather, even fabrics are coming into play as it relates to jewelry. And I have seen that too, where people are mixing in like mesh fabrics with gold or gold tone jewelry or silver tone jewelry and things like that. So it creates a really organic look as it relates to the style of the piece. All right, so keep that in mind. Now, here is something that I'm really excited about only because I am one of those people who is really into technology. I happen to be a fan of AI. I know not everybody is, but we are going to see technology and AI more and more prevalent in jewelry. All right, technological integration, jewelry with smart features like fitness tracking and notifications are gaining traction. Also, augmented reality tools for virtual try-ons and 3D printing are revolutionizing design and shopping experiences. Now, I did an interview not too long ago with a magazine that was asking my opinion on AI as it relates to jewelry. And while I understand that there is the whole, I guess, sector of smart jewelry, smart watches, smart rings that track things for us. There's also another component of AI in jewelry where people want to design their own jewelry using AI and then find a jeweler or a designer to actually create that piece for them. Now, of course, this is something that is still very, very new, and it's probably not something that's affordable for most people, at least not yet. But I do believe that that is going to be coming, and we are going to be seeing that in the years to come. Where again, like how we use AI to create images, I do believe that we will be using AI to create our jewelry as well. And who knows, it may even go past jewelry. Maybe we will be able to create our own handbags or our own outfits. You never know. All right. So I'm really excited about this. Like I said, I am a fan of AI and technology. And so I'm looking forward to seeing this trend kind of get more popular. All right, next up, we do have cultural influences. Now, I've talked about this on the podcast too, where depending on what your culture is, or your family's history, or maybe someplace you've lived and you just kind of appreciate the cultural significance of that place. All right, I've seen people, as a matter of fact, I had a neighbor. She lived in Hawaii for many, many years, and she just loved all things Hawaiian: clothing, jewelry, food, everything. And so she always had a lot of Hawaiian jewelry, even though she wasn't Hawaiian at all. She just really appreciated the culture, and she appreciated the style of that particular culture, especially as it relates to jewelry. So I do believe that we are going to be seeing this in the new year as well. People just really kind of identifying with something that has cultural significance for them. All right, so designs inspired by global and tribal motifs are trending. These pieces feature bold patterns and vibrant colors, celebrating diverse cultural heritage. So I think, again, this is going to be something as it relates to people kind of showcasing their personal identity and things that are meaningful to them, to their family, and so on. All right. And finally, not finally, but the last thing on this particular part of my notes on the list is affordable luxury. All right. So, because I have some things where I want to share with you where I think this particular trend, the direction things are going. But when I was doing my research, this is what I found. The rise of direct to consumer brands and e commerce platforms is making unique, high quality jewelry more accessible to a broader audience. All right, so we have seen this in collabs with some of the higher end, maybe jewelry brands. I know like Kendra Scott has done a collab with Target as it relates to her jewelry, where it's just as beautiful and just as durable, or the quality is just as good as some of the higher end pieces. But of course, it's at a much more affordable price point. Now, when it comes to reselling, I don't believe that some of these collabs can command a higher price versus their original, higher end counterparts. All right, because the Kendra Scott Target collab jewelry, you're just not going to be able to resell that as you would an original Kendra Scott piece. But it doesn't mean that people won't still be looking for that, or maybe they will be buying that for themselves. Now, here is what I want to share. This is my own prediction and what I have seen as it relates to trends and what buyers are looking for, especially as it relates to resale. And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to go on the record saying that I believe buyers are going to be looking for more bulk buy opportunities. And I'm going to explain that. All right. So, as resellers, a lot of us like to source in bulk, right? We don't like to buy piece by piece, but we like to buy maybe 50, 100, 200 pieces at a time, depending on, exactly what it is. What I have noticed with my regular non-reseller buyers is that they are looking for bulk buy deals as well. Not that they're looking for 100 pieces of jewelry, but they have asked me, oh, could I buy 10 of those necklaces, or could I buy 20 pairs of those earrings? Why? Because they're looking for a deal as well. And a lot of buyers are more interested in having the variety and having the I guess, flexibility to mix and match and buy multiple pieces at once. So I believe that as resellers, if we can create lots and if we can create bulk buys for our regular consumer customers, not other resellers, so we don't have to have 50 pieces. Maybe we just do a lot of 5 pieces or a lot of 10 pieces. I do believe that that's what customers are going to be seeking as we move forward. Like I said, not only is it saving them money, but it's saving them time, because let's say they want to buy, a bunch of jewelry pieces for, I don't know, multiple outfits. Maybe they have multiple things that they're doing and they want to mix and match their jewelry, but they don't necessarily want to shop one by one by one. Now, of course, there are going to be people who love to shop that way too, but I have noticed that a lot of my regular buyers are asking me for more than one piece, or they're saying, oh, can you kind of create a look with multiple pieces? And I would be interested in buying all of those pieces together. All right. So that's what I believe is going to be more in demand as we move into the new year. I also believe that, a lot of people, they buy jewelry for themselves, but they also buy jewelry for other people. And this could be a way, again, that will save them the time and it will be convenient as opposed to shopping for multiple pieces. Now, especially if they like what you have, if they like the type of jewelry that you sell and you always seem to kind of get it right as it relates to what they want, I'm telling you, I've had multiple people ask me for this and they're not resellers. All right, so that's something to think about and to keep in mind as we are kind of curating our inventory, figuring out what we're going to buy as we move into the new quarter, and maybe communicating that with your buyers and letting them know that you are willing to do lots, or you are willing to do multiple item sales. Because the other thing that I've noticed too is that a lot of my buyers will like to get a deal. They'll say, oh, can you give me a deal if I buy six? Can you give me a deal if I buy 10? And then they'll want to pick, the 10 pieces. Now that works for me in a live show. That may not work for you if you are not doing live selling, but you can still use that angle and incorporate it in some way, shape, or form, depending on where you're selling. Right. So you can kind of create a lot of 10 necklaces and list that on eBay or Poshmark or wherever, and then give people the options to buy multiple pieces. Right. So I think that is all I've got for you as it relates to jewelry trends for 2025. These trends highlight a growing demand for individuality, sustainability, and innovative designs in the jewelry market. If you're a reseller, focusing on these trends can help you align with consumer expectations and to stand out in 2025. And that's always what it's about. Of course, I know a lot of us are jewelry lovers, and we just do this for fun, and we are doing this because we are passionate about it. And for some of us, it's a hobby. But for a large percentage of us, this is our business. This is our livelihood. And we are in this to make money. And there is nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I hope this episode gave you some information and some things to think about as it relates to what you will be sourcing and how you can create buying opportunities for your customers. All right, because as resellers, we're not really locked into anything specific. We can be as creative and as different as we want to be, as long as we are servicing our buyers in the best way and to the best of our abilities. All right, so let me know your thoughts as it relates to this video or this topic. What are you predicting could be trendy for jewelry in 2025? Or more specifically, what do you think will be trending as it relates to jewelry reselling in 2025? I would love to have a discussion on this. And what do you think about my list? Do you think it's pretty much on point, or do you think I am way off the mark? And then let me know what you think about my own personal prediction for 2025 as well. All right, jewelry friends, I want to thank you so much for spending this time with me. Again, if you have any topics or suggestions for future episodes, please don't hesitate to reach out to me, because I am always trying to create the best podcast episodes I absolutely can. And I'm always my focus is to really give you whatever it is that you need in order to be a better jewelry reseller. Like, that truly is what I want to do and what I enjoy doing. All right. So again, I want to thank you so much for spending this time with me, and I will check in with you again really soon.